Welcome into the field house, everybody. My name is Max Paulson, joined alongside Jett Nelson, replacing Jay for the week. Jett out last week, back this week. How you been doing, Jett?
Been doing real good, man. Just enjoying the last bit of summer. We're about to have kids back in school. I drove through a school zone today, and I was like, man, the light's back on. What is going on? So, yeah, summer's coming to a close, but that only means one thing. Football season is starting right back up, so that's
Yes,
got me
it
thrilled.
is.
The Rangers haven't been too exciting, so it's time to, maybe put baseball on the back burner. We'll see what they do, but I'm pretty hyped about this Cowboy squad.
Yeah, I school zones. I understand them. They exist for a good reason. But I understand is why at like 11:30 noon they're on. Kids
Yeah.
aren't going to the school crossing the street during that time, especially elementary school when they absolutely don't let them leave at all.
Yeah.
High school, I get it kind of because kids leave and they're like, I don't want to eat lunch at school. But when I'm driving through, just the middle of the day, just driving through a school zone, it's stupid. It sucks. It's like I got places to be, and the school zone is
Yeah.
just impeding my progress. But
Or you ever
anyways,
seen when it's like still on at 6 o'clock in the afternoon? It's like,
yes,
didn't school get out at 3?
yeah,
What?
exactly. I don't know. Sometimes those school zones they got some weird times on them. But
Maybe it's just like
Cowboys,
solar powered.
yeah,
No clue.
Cowboys and Rams joint practice, first one of the season. Things looked really, really, really good for the Cowboys on both sides of the ball, especially defensively, though, which is a great, great sign given how poorly this team played on the defensive side of the ball last year.
Yeah, and you talk about going up against the Rams. I guess it was kind of, the Rams practice facility, but the Cowboys are also there in Southern California. But yeah, you go into the Rams, joint practice slash scrimmage, and you show off with some interceptions. I believe that was, finding his name here, Justin Barron, number 45.
Three
We'll see if he,
interceptions.
3 interceptions. We'll see if he makes the roster. Obviously, that's not against Matthew Stafford and
One
Puka
of them was.
Nakua. One of them was against, it was on
One of
Stafford?
them was against Matthew Stafford. Yeah.
Okay, I figured it was more backups than starters, but yeah, I was just kind of going through the footage today. So wow, yeah, one against Matthew Stafford there. So yeah, you're proving that the Cowboys defense can hang with one of that's most likely going to be one of the best offenses in the league, and that could kind of be a precursor. We're going up against another very strong, obviously coming off of the Super Bowl win. We're going up against the Seattle Seahawks this Saturday. So if we show that we can, our depth pieces can hang with the NFC West, there's not much else better to start with.
Yeah, and really the Super Bowl path in the NFC goes through the NFC West. Easily has the two best teams in the entire conference, and the Seahawks and the Rams. You can hang with those two teams. You can hang with pretty much anybody else in the league, at least in the NFC. Probably in both, to be honest with you. But yeah, great work from the defense all around. Loving the things that we've seen from a Christian Parker defense. I also saw after that instead of the Rams, they went into the locker room after Brian Schottenheimer, the coaches, they were saying bye to whatever their other team's coaches. Cowboys players stayed on the field, did extra conditioning, and apparently that's what they've been doing after every practice. And it wasn't something Brian Schottenheimer started. He said it was a full players thing, that they've just been doing this extra conditioning, getting that extra work in after practice. So this team looks hungry. It's something we haven't seen from a Cowboys team in a long time. A lot of times you come into the season and it doesn't really look like they want it that bad. They're just kind of like, we're the Cowboys. It's what we do, whatever. Kind of a different mindset this year, it seems like, at least so far.
Yeah, you're kind of seeing that mentality spread across the NFL. You're seeing a lot of guys like, yeah, I might be doing this for the money. Maybe I'm not in the right location that I planned on being. But we're seeing, and I think this is a big contribution to why Quinnen Williams got such a large contract to kind of tie that story in. He got signed to the 3-year, 106 million or maybe 105.9,
Something like that, I think.
somewhere
Yeah.
in that range. And I think it's really, I think it was Stephen Jones who came out and said just he's a guy working extra in practice. He's saying all the right things. He's studying the playbook. He's doing all those things that it sounds like a rookie would do, but we're talking an all-pro level defensive tackle in Quinnen Williams, and he's kind of showing up every day, mentoring, being the stud guy, just being a guy that you can lean on on that defensive front. And I think the front office is seeing that. The front office is actually reacting to those things. That's something we're seeing new for the first time. And with the Cowboys, yeah, these are a lot of new mindsets. A lot of, we're going to stay later. And I think that's just something we're seeing guys come from teams like the Jets and Quentin Williams, and from the Cardinals with Jalen Thompson. If he was back today, I couldn't see his number out there, but regardless, we're seeing guys get hungry. We're seeing them want to work for this, and maybe a big testament to Brian Schottenheimer. Maybe it's just his voice was the one instead of Matt Eberflus's or whoever, Mike McCarthy in past years is the one to finally get them out there. Maybe it's Dak Prescott, but there's a voice out there really commanding this team to do better, and it's been needing that for a long time.
I think Shoddy has had a huge impact on this team. We've seen it since he got the job. Immediately that first year last year was going out to dinner with the guys and just doing different things with them, just trying to build that chemistry and that culture. It's been a losing culture in Dallas for a long, 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 long time. Guys haven't really wanted it. We've had pushover coaches like Jason Garrett and Mike McCarthy. Brian Schottenheimer brings a different energy. He's younger. He's exciting. He just relates with the guys, and he's a guy that guys want to get behind. And they want to rally. They want to win for. They want to win for Brian Schottenheimer, and you can really tell with how they've been playing.
And I think you also got to remember his dad is Marty Schottenheimer.
Mm-hmm.
He was a guy, I believe, with the Chiefs, if memory serves, that he would really work his guys in the preseason. There wasn't a dull day of practice. So I think Brian Schottenheimer is kind of taking that from his genealogy. He's installing that. But I guess you do have to be a tad bit careful. You don't want injuries. You don't want to overwork your guys. But I guess in Southern California, it's a little easier, less temperature. I think we saw a high school player, I want to say somewhere in the DFW area, needed to get med carded out to a hospital. So yeah, there's definitely a right way and a wrong way to work your team leading up to the season. And I think we're seeing Brian Schottenheimer, really get the most out of his guys without seeing any risks.
Yeah, absolutely. And, moving over to the offensive side, the play calls today I read a little basic. Don't want to show too much of your playbook, especially in a preseason practice. But they're still getting results. Red zone was a big issue last year. Cowboys had no problem ever moving the ball. Would end up always getting complacent. You would feel like having Brandon Aubrey there. Today, that was not the case. They did red zone drills, and Dak threw 4 touchdowns. 2 were to CD, 1 was to Kevontae Turpin, and then I think the other one was to Brevin Spanford, who makes a serious case for a roster spot, and maybe even that second tight end spot here going into the season. I think he would be a really good asset for you. Big guy, good range of the catch. Yeah, red zone looked great today. Really just can't say enough positives about how this team performed today against one of the best teams in the NFC.
Yeah, when you're looking across the offense, there's certain points you want to see. You mentioned Brevin Spanford and Ferguson. They're going to be, I guess, competing each other. I think it's pretty sold with Ferguson being the starter there, but Brevin Spanford has a spot to earn and prove himself worthy of. So I love to see him going out, getting that touchdown. We definitely wanted to see, that battle between Phil Maffa, Malik Davis, Jaden Blue. That's going to be a key point. We're going to see probably all 3 of them on Saturday against the Seahawks. So, there's just certain things. We know that CD and George Pickens are going to be comfortable in their spots, So, did you have any idea how the tackles did? Terrence Steele and Tyler Guyton?
I did not see anything about that.
That would be my other big controversial point of the offense. Make sure the tackles are good. But, like you said, we're seeing all the right things from this offense. There's a few points, if those starters can really tune things up just a notch, maybe that if that run game really gets established, those are the key points. But I think Saturday will tell the tale of those things.
Mm-hmm. And, with Quentin Williams getting extended, a lot of questions surround now George Pickens, whether this is his last season in Dallas or if he is going to get that big extension, because he's going to command a lot of money. especially if he does have a season like he did last year. If he puts up back-to-back 1,400-yard seasons, he's going to need top market money. And I don't really know if the Cowboys have enough room to pay a second wide receiver top market money. CeeDee Lamb was surely pleading his case to Jerry Jones. Did you see what he was saying?
I didn't see the whole quote.
Yeah, I saw that he was saying basically like, Jerry, whatever you do, extend this guy. Whatever you can do possible, find a way to extend this guy. It'll get you a couple more Super Bowls. He said a couple more Super Bowls. That's
He's
high praise
one.
there. Yeah, not even starting with one Super Bowl. You're going straight to multiple if he re-signs George Pickens, which, love the energy from CD there. But realistically, if you have two top wide receiver money on your team, we've seen how that's worked for the Bengals. Their defense has been completely putrid. So you gotta spread that money around. But I would love to keep George Pickens here. I wouldn't ever complain about it. Cowboy games would at least never be boring to watch because you'd have an amazing offense pretty much forever.
Yeah, you'd be able to take the over in most of the games, make the betting side a bit more interesting. But yeah, I'm loving the relationship between CD and George Pickens. I mean, they talk about going fishing together, just going out to eat together, meeting each other's families. I mean, you can't ask for a better bond there. And of course, they're on the practice field as much as they can be together. So you love that relationship. And man, I'm trying to picture myself. I'm Jerry Jones. Like you said, yeah, you got to spread the money, but I guess you keep CD over Pickens, obviously. You don't, CD's number 88. I think he just means that much more, but I have a feeling that how this season ends, where this Cowboys team is on the final day of the season, will prove what happens to George Pickens, because if this is a, week 18 and we need a win over the Commanders or Giants to sneak into the wild card and you lose that one, I don't think you spend the money to keep George Pickens. But say you had a really close win in the NFC divisional round, you make it to the NFC championship, which, we're predicting this team to be around 11-6, somewhere in that range. I think it is possible. Maybe Brandon Aubrey kicks that. I think it will have to be close. I don't think Dallas wins comfortably in the NFC divisional round by any means, but say, Brandon Aubrey makes a field goal. They sneak into the NFC championship game. Maybe you fall there. Then you want to slide the chips in. Then you want to buy into George Pickens. So yeah, I really think what the final game is for the Cowboys will determine, do we spend?
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you there. If this team is really disappointing, then there's absolutely no reason to keep George Pickens because you're just setting yourself up to be bad defensively going forward because you'll have no money for it whatsoever. But if you're close, you got a lot of guys now, these rookie contracts that you're not going to have to pay for a couple years, and you just extended your most important defensive piece. I mean, if you're close, if you make it past that divisional round and, you're that one step away or something, run it back. Yeah. Draft some guys. Like, I completely agree. You gotta prioritize Pickens if this season goes really, really well. If they make it to the NFC Championship this year, I'd consider that a win because it's the last time you made it was the last time you won the Super Bowl. It'd be a step in the right direction for sure. I know this team is feeling Super Bowl or bust because it's been so long since you had the last Super Bowl. I know a lot of fans feel that way too. But, I would be disappointed if they didn't win the Super Bowl, if they had made it that far in the playoffs. But it would be a much better result than what you would think going into the season.
Oh, absolutely. I think even even that good, push to the divisional round, as long as you play hard, because we're used to playoff losses where the final play is a weird dump off to Ezekiel Elliott where he gets slammed by the 49ers linebacker. We're used to the most absurd, uncalled for, just ways to lose in the playoffs. So even if the team, wins those 11, 12 games, gets into the playoffs, but then you see a young coach just maybe get out-coached or you see the ball just not bounce your way, I think you can still believe in the future of this team. Although my only pushback on myself is you have a small window left for Dak Prescott. We're getting into year 10 this season, so, that window's only getting smaller we got to make this push. It's either got to be this year or next year. And then it's like 12 years. I mean, I don't know if he's Tom Brady level athletic. Injuries will pop up. And so you're definitely playing on Dak Prescott's window. But yeah, if this team just looks competent again, especially on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, I think the front office will definitely want to keep pushing forward.
Yeah, and I think, like in regards to George Pickens, one of the most encouraging things that we've seen is that he is very, very engaged. He's not the receiver that, oh, I'm in a contract year. I just got franchise tagged. Does this team even really want me long term? I'm just going to go out there. I didn't get paid anyways, so might as well just do what I want. No, he's there in the film rooms. He's studying. Like, he's engaged in every single team meeting. I mean, when he's out on the field, he's having a great time. He's focused. He's not dropping passes. He's running great routes, making great catches. Like, George Pickens is at the top of his game right now here, heading into the preseason.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you have to look at where he's come from too. In Pittsburgh, he was kind of, that chip kind of got built on his shoulder. He was kind of told, we don't know if you're going to fit here. We don't know if your mindset's correct. And so he comes to Dallas and he's instantly appreciated. Dallas loves its wide receivers. There's no doubt about it. We love, and especially how well he's fit with CD, with Dak, how he's run the routes, caught over 1,000 yards. So yeah, his fit in Dallas, unquestionable. It's great. Now, I'm trying to think, like, even if Dallas went for a longer term contract, you'd think 3-4 years would be the max. There's no way he'd be making more than 40 million a year compared to the 35 he's getting on the franchise tag. So I don't think Dallas really scalped his contract. The franchise tag is always tough on a player. It's something the NFLPA has agreed on with the owners and front offices. So I think he's a very smart man. You hear that when he talks. I think he understands the business side of this and knows that if I ball out, a contract's most likely coming my way, or he could be a great trade candidate, although it would suck to move again. I think he likes Dallas in his position, but he knows that there's a lot to play for.
Yeah, and, franchise tag, the money's not – I don't really think the money's the issue, but it's just that security, like job security with anything. You'd rather be on a salary rather than, okay, you're going to work for like 4 weeks and then we're going to see if we still want to keep you. And then it's like, all right, these 4 weeks have passed. We're going to give it another month to see if we want you. And they just keep doing that. And it's like, well, come on, have I not shown enough, to show my value to the company? So that same kind of thing here with the franchise tag. So, but yeah, like I said, it's really good to see that it's not something that's discouraged him, not something that's a distraction. He looks as locked in as ever. I really think that coming to Dallas saved his career. I think on the trajectory that he was going in Pittsburgh, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it could have been anywhere he went that he would have found this success, but he was going to die in Pittsburgh. His career was going to end. He was going to be an average receiver at best. He was never going to take that next step.
Especially with Pittsburgh not wanting to sign a high-caliber quarterback. I mean,
he was just going to keep going through recycled old veteran quarterbacks or career backups like the Steelers have been signing since Big Ben retired. Yeah, it was not going to be good news for him. So I'm really glad he's found a home in Dallas, and I hope they find some way to extend him that doesn't completely tear the team apart.
Right.
Yeah, but it's really good things we're seeing out of camp so far. Dak, he's had some off days, quite a few actually, but today was a really good day, and today's the day that mattered the most. Going up in practice, against guys that know your scheme, it's harder to perform there, but against a team that didn't know what they were doing, he went and he threw those 4 touchdowns in those red zone drills. Like we said, great to see that. That was a big struggle point for the team last year, but yeah, the team rides on. They go as far as Dak will take them.
Right.
The defense definitely going to play better than they did last year. They've already shown that they're. I already think that they're better than the team was at any point last year, and we're in the first preseason open practice. But that's not a very high bar there. So if they can just play average, slightly below average football, and Dak and the offense play like they did last year, this team absolutely can go extremely far this season.
That's why I think this first preseason game against the Seahawks will really show you if this defense has changed. We're obviously seeing improvement. There's no way it's going to be like last season.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's a few key things to look for, especially on this defensive front. Where, if there are any, are there gaps for the offense to get through? Is that maybe Rashawn Gary maybe not being as tight there off the edge in the 3-4 scheme? I'm pretty confident in it. So you got Quinnen Williams. There's your tackle, Otito Obonia.
Kenny Clark.
Kenny Clark will be on the other side. So I think you want to make sure there's no holes there on that defensive front. But I think the main thing Dallas is going to try to do in this first game, I'm not sure if we'll see Sam Darnold out there. You know, you never know. Dak is historically known for not appearing in preseason, but it's Brian Schottenheimer. So, but against Sam Darnold, possibly in that Seattle offense, we want to make sure no big plays are getting through. I mean, anything over 20 yards should be rare in this 3-4 scheme that Dallas is going to be trying to switch to. And that's going to be the real testament. Has Christian Parker really have these guys knowing the plays? Is the scheme inserted fully into this new team? I mean, obviously, you have so many new guys in, so that shouldn't be the real problem. DeMarvion Overshown, definitely watch what he's doing in this game if he gets a significant amount of playing time. We've seen him light up guys in practice. Does that energy translate? Does he play it safe? But just really showing the line, who's going to be that Mike linebacker? That's going to be a big question that I think gets answered early on in preseason. Does D. Winters maybe take that spot? Or is Caleb Downs calling the plays? That's a real possibility with how important he's going to be at that nickel safety position. So, I mean, yeah, that's where my eyes are going to be on this preseason game is like, do we really limit those big plays? Do the corner, safety, linebackers really plug the gaps through the air? And does those defensive tackles really shut down the run game?
Yeah, you brought up Caleb Downs there. Man, he has been given CD fits in training camp so far. I mean, it has been straps, straight lockdown on CD Lamb. Pretty much every single clip I've seen, he's either, right on him, deflecting it, stripping the ball out right before he completes the catch. Caleb Downs has been playing like a vet. That's what we expected of him. He's going to be a leader of this team in his rookie season. I mean, as far as the defense goes, like he's probably the anchor of the defense. He's going to play all over probably. He's going to be a safety, cornerback, might even slide down there to linebacker every now and then. You don't know. Just with the depth of this linebacker core. I mean, I would argue it's definitely the weakest part of the team. You don't know what you're getting out of DeMarvion Overshown. You don't know if he's going to stay healthy. And you have D. Winters, and then after that, you have Merritt Leofau.
Sam Williams.
Yeah, Sam Williams. Like, you got a bunch of guys that still haven't completely proven everything that they can do. It's a big question mark. But, yeah, this defense poised to take a big step forward is what I would say. I think that most people can agree with that. New defensive coordinator, pretty much completely new team everywhere.
Yeah.
You brought in a lot of new guys. I wanted to get your opinion on Christian Parker not wanting like media members to take videos of the practices. You saw that he was the one who shut those down. That was from Christian Parker.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So there's two ways of thought process. You have the one side, we want to keep our practices concealed and away from other teams to maybe start identifying the playbook, start seeing what our scheme looks like. So you do want to prevent that, but at the same time, although the Cowboys don't really have trouble with this, you want to get fans and attention in the right direction. You want to get everybody hyped up. You don't want low crowd numbers early on when you're playing at home. But I guess the pushback would be, when have the Cowboys ever struggled with that?
Never.
So I get what he's saying, but I think it was Jerry who actually went and said, like, hey, buddy, this is the Cowboys. You don't put the cameras away. Cameras going to be here. And if you're going to be here, you're going to live with the cameras.
Yeah, that is the one thing you can never escape a camera in Dallas.
Yeah.
Jerry is all about the publicity, any sort of publicity that he can get. Jerry Jones is going to go for it. We've seen that with all this stuff about them talking about Max Crosby and all these sorts of trade rumors. I don't think that's happening. I mean, he can talk about all he wants, like, oh, we have our eyes on a big guy or whatever they've been saying. They're like, look for it, it's coming. It's like, I'll believe it when I see it. Until then, I will have zero belief that the Cowboys are going to go trade for a big time guy like Max Crosby here anytime soon, or even at the trade deadline. Like, if it happens, I'll be so happy. But until then, I'm content and knowing that they are not going to do that. I mean, it's enough that they've already extended Quinnen Williams. I mean, that's not like the Cowboys at all. They've extended him when he still has 2 years left on his deal. So, I mean, that's already a different step in the right direction. So maybe looking at that, you get more confidence that maybe they do go out there and trade for a guy. I mean, they traded for George Pickens last year. Maybe they do trade for someone this year. But like I said, until I see it, I'm not going to believe it.
I guess that could put the Cowboys into a bit of a hypocritical spot. You know, you got George Pickens on the franchise tag. Say you go out and you spend whatever money you had left on Max Crosby. You think George Pickens is looking down there like, you just got that money. I don't know. I feel like that could be the troublesome moment. But like you said, if we get an elite pass rusher, 12 to 15 sacks, that's just one of those things that this defense is still missing. I think Rashawn Gary had 8, Jadeveon Clowney 8.5 last year. So if we could get that double-digit sack threat, that would definitely transform this defense. And, it's not. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think this pass rush will be in need of somebody? My gut's telling me that things will be okay with Rashawn Gary.
Yeah, it's
so tricky.
It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how Malachi Lawrence is out of the gates. That's going to be a big thing. I don't think Rashawn Gary is going to be that double-digit sack guy for you.
No.
I think we know what Rashawn Gary is. I think he's going to get anywhere from 4 to 8 sacks, somewhere in that range. Hopefully closer to 8. Malachi Lawrence has a lot of potential to be a good player. And it helps having guys like Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark on the inside, to where he's not going to face many double teams, probably.
No.
He's not going to face a guard swinging out to block with the tackle. He's going to have a lot of one-on-one matchups this year, especially being a rookie. So we have Malachi Lawrence has a lot of potential to cause a lot of commotion there on the defensive line.
And I guess now that I'm kind of looking at it, we skipped over Jayshawn Barham. Mm-hmm. He could be a threat off the edge. Donovan Ezaraku. He's going to be right there. He's trying to meet his expectations. So I like the depth, at least, that we have there. Say one guy doesn't pan out, you plug someone else in. There's multiple threats we have there.
Yeah, they have a lot of depth at defensive line now. A lot of edge rushers, a lot of average edge rushers. There's no standout guy on the team, at least not yet. Donovan Ezaraku could very well take that leap in year 2, or like I said, Malachi Lawrence could become that guy. It's probably going to be one of those two. Don't think it'll be Rashawn Gary, like I said.
No.
But it's one of those guys. They could become the anchor of that line off the edge. But I think with how the back end of the defense has improved, there's not as much need for them to get to the quarterback as quickly or as often as there was last year. Right. The secondary, if you weren't to the quarterback in 2 to 3 seconds, the entire secondary was on their butt, or a guy's wide open in the back, right behind the safeties, and no one knew what was going on. I don't think we're going to see that many issues this year on that front. But yeah, if you could see them take a big step forward there on pass rush, then that's going to be huge for this team. Pass rush is always something a team will take. Right. You're never going to complain with a bunch of pass rushers getting to the quarterback.
Yep. Well, do you want to wrap it up with a little prediction segment for Saturday?
Sure.
I'll start us off here. Let's go with a score. I'm going to say the Cowboys do not win a lot of preseason games. They tend not to, especially with this one being in Seattle, right? Or maybe in California where the practice facility is. I know it's not here. So let's go with a 27-20 loss. Let's go with a rushing touchdown from Phil Maffa.
Okay.
And let's go with a pass touchdown catch from 1 second. Let's go. Cavante Turpin gets one
All right.
back there. Let's say he gets some wide receiver reps and then a couple field goals.
Sounds good. I'm gonna say that the Cowboys also lose this game. I think it's gonna be 24-20. I think Joe Milton will throw a touchdown pass. I think Jadon Blue is gonna get a rushing touchdown. Those will be the 2 touchdowns you score. And catching the touchdown, give me Brevin Spanford.
Okay.
I think he's gonna be the one catching the touchdown there from Joe Milton.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt that they're going to try to incorporate the 2 tight ends. Scootmaker's out, correct? So it's kind of Brevin Spanford.
I'm not sure if he is actually.
I know he got banged up. I'm not sure if he's back yet, but I think the 2 tight end look could be, a staple of this Cowboys offense. But you might have to bring somebody in to really achieve that. So yeah, we'll see if Spanford really fits the role.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited that football's back. I can't wait for the regular season to start. I'm getting ready to do some fantasy drafts here coming up over the next couple weeks.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to that as well. It's going to be a fun football season. A lot to look forward to here. And I can't wait to get on here and break it down with you guys every week.
Yep.
It's going to be a good time.
Oh,
It's gonna be
one
along
more
for a ride.
thing. I had an idea for what we call the listeners.
What?
The roommates.
The-
Hear me out.
Okay.
Because they're in the field house with us. They're in the house. So we're roommates.
All right,
Okay.
I
was
mean,
waiting for a. I was waiting for a. Come on, Jett. What was that?
I mean, I kind of like it.
The roommates.
Yeah,
We got something for the listeners
yeah,
now.
we can definitely bring it to Jay and put it to a vote.
He'll be the deciding factor.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get with him on that. But anyways, this has been another episode of the Field House. We'll be back here in a couple days. Hopefully Jay will be joining us. Until then, enjoy. Have a great rest of your day, evening, whenever you listen to this. And we'll see you next time.
Take it easy.